All right, it says we are live. That means, well, we're live. Good to be with you tonight. We have a special guest we're going to bring on in just a minute or two. But let me do a little bit of housekeeping first as some folks start to trickle in on this Friday night. And it's beautiful in a lot of the parts of the country. So we may not have a whole lot with us live tonight. But then the views start coming afterwards. Like the show that I did Tuesday, I think, it was Monday or Tuesday, is up to like 13 or 14,000 now, somewhere around there. So believe me, they start streaming in over the next day or two by the thousands. And so we love that because we want everybody to enjoy Facebook Live with Les, Southern Gospel Music, memorabilia, memories, and ministry. And we always bring all of the above to each program. But let's see. Well, don't forget our YouTube channel, which we're building. We want you to go and subscribe to that YouTube channel. So please go and do that, maybe even after the show tonight. Let's see. What else can you do? Always go to the store. Get yourself a Facebook Live with Les mug. Let's see. There's one back here, right here. I'll show you. Right there. Look at there. Now, there's my mug. And there I am. That is pre-COVID, back when I was 50 pounds heavier. There I am. And so the next mugs that I have to buy, it says Facebook Live with Les, Southern Gospel Music, memorabilia, memories, and ministry. But then my next mug, I've got to have my cheeks chiseled down a little bit because, well, I'm 50 pounds less now. So we'll change that on the next go around for the cups. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Don't forget to vote in the Singing News Fan Awards if you haven't already. Heart to Heart made the top 10 list for the new group, and they are on our label, Family Music Group. So vote for them if you don't mind. Also, we've got the old radio hotline. We want you to always participate with that. Matter of fact, jot that phone number down, because when I jump on from time to time, and I will ask you about maybe a particular category in the Singing News Fan Awards, and I want you to call and talk to me about who you think will win in that category. The hotline number is 800-360-5051, 800-360-5051. And next week's category is favorite quartet. So tell me your favorite quartet for the Singing News Fan Awards, okay? All right, and let's see. Let me pull up my April schedule, and then we're going to get our guest on board here. But let me pull this up first. I was should have been more ready. Should have been more ready, Kevin. It'll be okay. Let me see. So we got this. Let me do that. Man, we're pumped about April. Just so you know, I mean, we are absolutely stoked about April because we have some incredible guests, including the one that's going to kick off my first show in April that we're going to bring on here in just a minute or two. But here you go. So write this down now, okay? Next Monday, we're going to have an Easter theme. You know, most everybody's doing stuff about Easter, like today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Obviously, Easter, I'm going to do it the day after, kind of keep, fanning the fire for this great season that we're in for those of us who are Christians. And thank God for what Jesus did for us on Calvary. And I want to add another day. So we're going to just let Easter slide in one more day on Monday. And so we'll have an Easter theme on Monday. Then the 8th, I'm going to have Doyle Lawson with me on video. And we're going to have a video chat with my friend Doyle Lawson. April 10th, we're going to go to the 1971 Singing News charts and play a bunch of hits from 1971. That's going back 50 years, 52 years, 50 years. And April 12th, going to have some clips from an old George Johnson interview that I did back in the 80s, almost 40 years ago. And then on April 15th, my friend Vic Clay is going to be with me here live in the studio. I'm completely stoked about that, like I'm stoked about tonight and Doyle and then Vic Clay. I'm stoked about all these folks that's going to be on with us. And then April 16th, BMG FMG Artist Showcase. I want to showcase some of the folks that I work with. April 19th, a surprise show, meaning I don't know what I'm going to do yet. April 22nd, I'm going to play some clips from a Howard Goodman interview I did way back when. April 24th, we're going to feature some real Southern gospel music. And then on the 30th, we're going to have another surprise show. Okay. So there you go. There's the schedule. One more thing, Diamond Awards. So they just had the awards for 2020 because they had to push them back because of COVID. Well, now they're already starting the 2021 Diamond Awards. And so if you go to Scoops Magazine online, you can vote in all the categories. It just, they're write-in ballots now. So just write it in and remember some of the folks that we work with. And we'll talk about more of that a little bit later. Okay. So here we go. I want to see if I can get this thing done and get my friend Kevin McManus here with us today. And here we go. And Kevin McManus, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Kevin, thank you for taking your time today. And I didn't know it was you had your in-laws have a birthday or something that's going on today?
They both have birthdays in April. So we were going to celebrate both of them at the same time.
Okay. Well, it's the in-laws, so maybe I helped you out more than I hurt you. I don't know.
They'll probably watch this. So,
see, with my in-laws, I love my in-laws, and so it's okay. I can have a dinner with my in-laws and be very happy about it. I bet you can too.
I can too. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, Kevin, you know that's not the case. Not always.
Yeah, I know. I have them, or we have them over a lot, and I cook for them. So
Nice.
It's a special occasion. They'll get to eat some good food tonight.
All right. Well, listen, I want to tell the folks about Kevin if you don't know him, and many of you do know Kevin McManus from his decades of Southern gospel music as an engineer, as a producer. I'm going to read some things off of the screen here. Known in the world of recording as an expert engineer, and let me just give you a thumbs up on that. I know because I've worked with him in that department and producer. His list of Southern gospel and country music hits are significant. He has an outstanding reputation for his expertise in producing award-winning videos. That's true. We'll talk about that in a moment. And among the many awards bestowed on Kevin are the Video of the Year in '87, '94 Emmy Award, '97 Producer of the Year, '97 Engineer of the Year, '98 Engineer of the Year, 2000 Engineer of the Year, 2001 Engineer of the Year, and 2002 Engineer of the Year. That's a lot of trophies and plaques there, Kevin.
Well, thanks. That makes me sound like 100 years old, which I feel most of the time, but.
Well, when did you start in the business? I mean, you started doing live sound, really, right? First.
Right. I grew up a musician and started working I grew up in South Florida, so I started working some places in South Florida that will remain nameless. But a fellow by the name of Jerry Cameron was the kind of the tech guy at one of the places where we worked, and he had started a sound company, and he didn't like to mix, he just liked to build stuff. So he got me to go out and do some shows with him, and I really enjoyed it. And we went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to do some up and coming groups, and two of them you'll know is the Marshall Tucker Band.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie Daniels.
Oh, yes.
Marshall Tucker had just signed their contract with Capricorn, and they really liked the way the system. They liked the system and the way we ran it. So they said, we're going to start doing some headline dates. Would you be interested in coming and doing it? So I did that for about 5 years, and then wanted to kind of get off the road and settle down in the studio situation, where I had done a little bit of studio work before, but that's what I wanted to do. So in 1976, I moved to Nashville and went to work at Hilltop Studio, where Gene Lawson was the chief engineer at the time, and I was basically coming on board to take some of the heat off of him and learn the craft, So that was in 1976.
Hilltop was hot back then, man.
Yes, it was.
Busy.
Yeah. And, I'll be honest with you, when I moved here, I didn't know anything about Southern gospel music. I was a heathen. I just came off the road. And So, I started working with some of the guys, studio musicians and producers, and some of the groups that came in there and stuff. And I thought, I think I'll start going to church, and I did. And the first church I went to was Grace Baptist. I was there for 10 years, and early on, I mean, like before I even went there, the guy that was over the broadcast committee at Grace had a heart attack and died. And so they said to me, you know anything about cameras? Because back then we had cable, that was the early days of cable.
Right.
And we also did a live radio. We were on WAMB, I think it is, on Sunday morning live. So, I enjoyed that. I like getting it right the first time. When I was doing live shows with Tucker, you didn't get a second chance. You had to do it right. Kind of anticipate where things were going.
Yeah. So your entrance into the music world started in the secular stuff, like you say, with Marshall Tucker and Charlie Daniels, and then you even brought that over into the recording, because I know you've produced folks like or engineered anyway, folks like Ray Price, Floyd Kramer, Clint Gregory, Gene Watson. You did stellar work with Gene Watson. I just got to tell you, stellar work with Gene Watson.
Well, he's a stellar artist. Yeah. So he makes us all look good,
Yeah. It's a good combination. Now, so here's what you did, and I don't know if you knew you were doing it at the time, but you brought the mentality of the hot secular sound from the Marshall Tucker bands and all that, where the kick drum was out front, the bass was out front, and you bring that over into the Southern gospel world. And I told my son, who now is doing just a stellar job engineering, when he started, I said, listen, if you're going to do stuff for your dad, I'm going to give you some music that was engineered by Kevin McManus, and you better get his kick and his bass sounds, especially upright bass sounds. You better get him right, and you better do him like Kevin McManus, and you would be proud of him, Kevin. He's doing that.
That's awesome. I need to come visit with him.
I'd love that.
Yeah, I would love that too.
I'd love that.
Well, let me just expand on what you just said.
Yeah.
A little bit, or expound, or whatever.
Talk.
When I first moved here and started doing sessions at Hilltop, I'd bring a briefcase full of Shure SM57s with me and mic all the drums. And they said, "What are you doing that for? Why are you using all those microphones on the drums?"
Yeah.
That's how I did it on the road with Tucker. We had they called it the West Coast sound, but everybody mic'd all the drums, and you could get the drums really sounding good. So there was only 3 inputs in the corner of the room that became the drum booth. There was only 3 inputs back there. So I had to run sub snakes, to get them all in the console.
Yeah.
Kenny liked that. When I started working with the Hinsons, Gene was doing some things with them, and then couldn't engineer a session. And so Betty Carpenter, the studio manager, called Kenny and said, "Gene can't make it tonight, but we have this new guy. He came off the road with the Marshall Tucker band." And Kenny says, "Oh, yeah?" He said, "Bring him on." So yeah, I was blessed to be in that position, and Kenny and I just hit it off, and the drums were smoking and the stuff, and their their style was way ahead of their time.
Boy, yes.
Prime, and oh gosh, there was a couple of those albums that were just, and of course the live stuff too,
Yeah. I'm going to go back to this is one of the very first albums that you engineered on for them. Matter of fact, it may be the first one. I don't think it is, but remember the group that God built and the songs they sing?
Yeah.
This is my all-time favorite ever Hinson album. Number one, my all-time favorite. And tell you what, I'm gonna play one of the songs. Let me play a Hinson song that you engineered, okay?
Okay.
And then hang tight. We're gonna listen to it, and we'll come back and we're gonna keep talking to my friend Kevin McManus. So here we go, the Hinsons from this very album right here. I hope.
There is a well that the thirsty soul can drink from, and the purity it brings will ever stay. Not a drop there is wasted, for to all who have tasted, come back to the water every day. Come to the life-giving water, for just one sip will cleanse the soul from sin. And there's just something about the water that makes everybody long to come again. There once came a woman. She had stopped at the whale site. Such an awful picture of what sin can be. Oh, but there her thirst was soon forgotten when God's only Son begotten said, come to the fountain with me. Come to the life-giving water. Just one sip will cleanse the soul from sin. But there's just something about the water that makes everybody long to come again.
We're gonna swing it now.
Oh yeah! Just one sip will cleanse the soul from sin. But there's just something about the water that makes everybody long to come again. That makes everybody long to come
Man, I love it.
Does that bring back the memories or what?
Oh, I bet it does, man. I'm gonna give you the players list from this album, Kevin.
I was going to ask you.
Oh
I
my
was trying to
word.
figure out who it was, but I think that might have been Jerry Kerrigan on drums. Was that
Well, the drummer was Kenny Malone and DJ Fontana.
it?
Steel
Okay.
guitar was Sonny Garish. Piano was Hargis Pig Robbins,
Uh-huh.
Bunky Kills, and Gary Prim, as he was just getting off the road with the Hinsons to do studio work.
Yeah.
And then let's see, the bass was Billy Linneman, electric guitar Jimmy Capps, Duke Dumas, rhythm guitar Steve Chapman, Mike Davis, fiddle was Johnny Gimble,
Yeah.
mandolin was Johnny Gimble, and harmonica was Mike Davis and Terry McMillan.
Bunch of lightweights.
Wow. You get those musicians and the writing of Ronnie, Kenny, and Larry and the singing of all four of them, and you in a studio to engineer all of it. And here's what you get. You get one of the greatest albums in the history of Southern gospel music, the group that God built, the songs they sang. Go back to that. Do you remember even doing that record? Can you remember bits and pieces of it?
Honestly, I don't. Of course, I remember all the players, but
Yeah.
you know, I'll tell you a little story. Kenny was very influenced by credits on other people's albums, I mean,
Yeah.
he was always reading credits, and he said, "I like that guy's playing. I like that guy's playing." And so when we put a session together to cut tracks, it was all Kenny's favorite people, And as you can tell, he got a bunch of them. So,
Boy, I'm telling you, that was a
Yeah.
who's who. That was a who's who. And by the way, the majority of them were also playing on the hottest, biggest country albums coming out of Nashville on all the big #1 songs. Hargus Pig, Billy Lindemann. Of course, he was the Opry staff Opry bass player for 4 decades.
uh-huh. Yep.
Great players. Great stuff.
Jimmy Caps. Did you say Jimmy Caps was on there?
Jimmy was not on that one. Now, he was on a bunch of others with you, but he.
Oh, okay.
not on
Yeah,
that one.
I remember Jimmy working on some of them.
And you've been, so that's early on, that's 70s, but you also on into, later years, you were produced a bunch of stuff with the Crab family. Of course, the McGruders, we're going to hit them here in a minute. Lester's and Gold City, and the list goes on and on. Go give me maybe a story or two. You just said something about Kenny that maybe a lot of people didn't know, that he got his shopping list off of the credit list of things he liked to hear. I remember you telling me a story about Rusty Goodman coming into the studio to do a vocal one day. And tell me a little bit about working with Rusty Goodman in the studio.
It seems like we were doing a project for Ronnie Hinson, a solo project. I think it was his first solo project.
Okay.
And the back door of the studio opened, and in walks Rusty Goodman. And of course, they were. Rusty was, wasn't quite himself. He'd taken medication for whatever the condition it was that he had. So I don't think he realized that he walked in on a session, but he saw his old buddy Ronnie standing in the middle of the room, and they sat down and started talking. And it was kind of funny. We didn't get a lot of vocalizing done, but they had a great time, a great reunion. So, and I was honored to meet him, and he was there. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the McGruders. You had such a great relationship with Carol and Priscilla, and y'all created hit after hit after hit after hit. And I could play a whole bunch of #1s, but I'm going to play my favorite McGruder song here in just a minute. But talk to me about your friends, Priscilla and Carol.
Well, I'll tell you how we met. I was hired by the United Pentecostal Church to do a live recording.
Uh-huh.
Ronnie had called Carol. I didn't know Carol at the time. So Ronnie had called Carol, and he said, "Hey, who does your live stuff?" I said, "Kevin McManus at Hilltop." That was in the Hilltop days, of course. But so he gave me the number at Hilltop, and he called me. Carol McGruder called me and introduced himself. He wanted to know if I'd be interested in going to Anaheim and doing their general conference live recording. I said, "Yeah, sure, we can do that."
Mm-hmm.
So I rented the record plants, one of the record plants trucks. These people were in big time in live recording back then. So they came to set up, and the record plant truck had been in San Diego the night before. They did a rock show down at the Speedway in San Diego, and the guy was trying to dial in the machines, and he was having a little trouble. But at the same time, I was out talking to Carol, and we were talking about the rundown and just, logistics and stuff. And I said, "Why don't we go out to the truck where we can talk and sit down?" So we went into the truck and sat down at the console. And this guy's over in the corner working on this machine. And he wasn't saying the things he was coming out of his mouth and stuff that you wouldn't want to repeat. And I'm sweating bullets because, I'm no saint, but I'm sitting here with a Pentecostal preacher.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I couldn't explain it. But anyway, Carol acted like he didn't even know the guy was in the room.
Well, yeah.
I'm assure you he did not miss a lick, but he didn't act like it. I mean, it was. And so Carol gets up to leave. I stayed behind, closed the door, and I turned around at that guy. I said, "I'm not believing this." I said, "Do you know who that guy was that just walked out of here?" He said, "He was a Pentecostal preacher, and you're standing over here cussing like a drunk sailor." That was our introduction. I did that project for him. The McGruders sang a song or two on that service that we recorded, and the bookstore, Pentecostal Publishing, they recorded that every year, and then made an album out of it. I did 2 of them, and then they quit doing them. But anyway, that's where we met, and I didn't know anything about Pentecost. The church that I started out at in Nashville was a Baptist church.
Yeah.
And so Carol and I became really good friends. He said, would you be interested in cutting a family project for me? And I said, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
So we brought him to Nashville. I can't think of the name of the first album that we did, but
how many did you do with them?
Oh, it's hard to say.
I bet you did 20.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Counting the live stuff, because we did 3 live recordings and video,
Yeah.
So, and we did it. We usually averaged a project every year. They came with us in about, well, let's see, Chris White and I reopened Oak Valley. That was Henry's studio. I guess you know that.
Yeah.
But Chris and I went in there and remodeled a little bit and changed out some of the equipment. And that was in 1986.
Yeah.
I want to say 92 was when we did Come Fly. And so we did 1 or 2 projects prior to that.
Yeah.
But when Chris and I set up shop at Oak Valley, we put them on Sunlight.
Yeah.
So it was a good place for them to land. And, we had some good track records established there.
I think Chris went to North Carolina. You stayed in Nashville. You stayed at Oak Valley, and the McGruders stayed with you, and they were on your Zion label for many years too.
That was a friendship thing, when Chris and I went our separate ways. Carol wanted to stay with me because he felt like I was his brother. We always called each other the brothers by the other mother.
Yeah.
And that was the truth. I'm not just saying that. There's nobody that I would rather pick up the phone and call if I had anything that I needed to discuss with anybody.
Yeah.
It was Carol. Carol just had a way of communicating.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been in their house many, many times. And the first time I went over there, I noticed that there was this list on the refrigerator. It was a prayer list.
Yeah.
And guess who was at the top?
Kevin McManus. What about that? Isn't that something? It's special, though, Kevin. Listen to that. That's so special just hearing that right there. They cared about you, brother.
Absolutely, they did. They prayed for me all the time. And finally, when I decided that I was going to get rebaptized in Jesus' name, that I would call Carol and see if he would be interested in doing it. So he did. He came over on a Sunday. Left his own church, came over to Nashville, and I was going to First UPC, just visiting at the time. But so Carol baptized me there, First UPC. That was about 22 years ago or something like that, I guess now. But
well, I'm gonna play my favorite McGruder song, and then after that, there's some folks saying hello to you on Facebook, and so I'm going to read some of this to you, especially Chris Champions. I'm going to say what Chris Champion said, and maybe you can tell me what he means. Because I'm not sure what he means by it, but it'll be something you probably will know, and it'll be funny. But right now, I'm going to play my favorite song from the McGruders. And, oh, man, this song is just powerful. It's called Most of All. Uh-oh, something happened to my phone, to my audio. Hold on. Hold on, Kevin. We got ourselves a what they call a technical glitch.
Where's Matt when you need him?
I know it. I got to do it all, Kevin. I'm the music director. I'm the program director. I run videos. I run cameras. I run everything. I take care of the garbage, the bathroom, lunches, I got to do it all. But so
Yeah, well, you know what? They call me chief engineer, and I got to do all those things. You know.
okay, yeah. Well, see, I don't have a title. Okay, here it's getting close. It's okay. It says it's discoverable. I'm hitting that, and I think we're getting close, man. I think we're getting close, Kevin. All right, here we go. We're gonna try this now. Called Most of All, the McGruders.
On that morning when the skies are split and saints are caught away. Most of all, I want to be among that number, the bride of Christ set apart in white array. Most of all, I want to look upon the Master and sing praises when at last the battle's won. I want to know I've run the race. Hear Jesus say I've kept the faith. And most of all, I want to hear him say, well done. Everything down here will dim and lose its value when compared with all the glory we'll behold.
Yes, amen to that.
But most of all, just to look upon the Savior.
Yeah.
We'll make it heaven if there were no streets of gold.
Tell him, Priscilla.
Most of all, I want to look upon the Master and sing praises when at last the battle's won. I want to know I've run the race. Hear Jesus say I've kept the faith. And most of all, I want to hear him say, well done. I want to know I've run the race. Hear Jesus say I've kept the faith. And most of all, I want to hear him say, well done.
Most of all, the McGruders, my favorite McGruders song. And man, they've got so many huge songs, but that one's special, Kevin. I love that one.
Speaking of special,
yep.
The song Special that they did on there, I think it was their very first Sunlight project.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time I ever cried in the studio.
Mm.
It just touched my heart, and you know,
yeah,
I was sitting there at the console in a pool of tears and realized what just happened. You know,
you'd come a long way from your Marshall Tucker days, right there, brother.
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you.
Well, listen, you've been a part of again so many huge songs. Give me a partial list of some of the biggest songs you've either engineered or produced.
Are you kidding?
Just a partial list.
I've got what they call cognitive decline. I can't remember anything anymore. Probably the biggest Southern gospel record that I did was Midnight Cry.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it stayed number one for 7 months. So at the time, I believe that was some kind of record, but
yeah,
I don't keep up with statistics very well.
Yeah.
And then, well, let's see, Kingsman, Stand Up at Opryland.
Yeah.
That was, that record went number one in 3 months. You know, it came out, went 30 something, I think, and then 20 something. It might have gone to the top 10, and then it was number one in the third month. So.
Straight up like a rocket, what they call it. Was on a rocket.
Well, the Kingsman, I mean, all you got to do is all you got to do. Most people may not realize it, but your job is to capture the anointing.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And, it's pretty hard to mess up a Kingsman rig. so, they were great at what they did. The people loved them. They got them going. The energy in the room was, undescribable. But, funny story about that. I built that mobile truck.
Mm-hmm.
I had it when Chris and I took over Oak Valley. And so it was a short notice thing because Bill Traylor called me and he said, we're down here in Mississippi trying to do a live project on the Kingsman, and the power supply and the console died.
Oh,
he
my.
said, is your truck available for Saturday? And I said, yeah, I just built it, and it was sitting in the driveway. So, yeah, we can do that. He said, okay, well, I'll see you Saturday morning. So I went out there, and it was raining cats and dogs. And we had already run, before it started raining, we'd already run all the cables and the mics and stuff were all set up. And they blew it off. They said, no, we can't do this. It's going to rain all day. And said, what about tomorrow? Can you do tomorrow? And I said, yeah, I can do tomorrow. He said, well, they don't have the Opry in the Opry House on Sunday. So we could get in there, his name that was the manager of the Opry. He was there. But anyway, Bill went to him and he said, hey, the guy that's got the recording truck outside has got a couple of cameras. He said, would you mind if he brought the cameras in to, just get a few shots and stuff? And he didn't bother to ask me if I could put a crew together in less than, about 20 hours. So he came to me and he said, can you pull the cameras out? And I said, yeah, we'll pull them out. So that was back when Nashville Network was doing pretty good. And I knew some guys that worked in Nashville Network. I hired a video engineer from Nashville Network and 2 camera operators.
Okay.
I did that shoot with 3 cameras, and I had to direct the video because I couldn't find a director.
Oh, my. And you engineered the audio?
Gene Lawson came over and did it for me.
Oh, what about that? Okay.
Gene Lawson laid it down, and I mixed it, later. But it was quite an experience. My first, the first video shoot that I ever got paid for.
Yeah.
As a director,
just about everything with the Kingsman was quite an experience, but that's stories for other days. Hey, let's see who's on here with us real quick. I had some folks here that wanted to say, hey, let's see. We got Patty Graham from Ohio. We got my Aunt Sue from Florida. We got Nicholas Wilkie saying, hey, buddy. We got my cousin from Kentucky, Brandon McGlone. Hi, Les. Jimmy Hayes. Hey, brother Les. Here's Chad Jones saying, hey, Les. Hey, Kevin. Do you know Chad? He's a DJ up in up north. Let's see who else we got here. It's nice to see you're talking with. Howdy, brother. Daryl Sheely. Dave Compton says, Kevin, legend. About that?
Yeah. Legend in my own mind.
Scott Edwards says, hello. And, okay, Chris Champion says this. Now, tell me what this means. He said, hip suey.
What was it?
Hip suey, HIPSOOEY. He said hip suey.
Huh.
Okay, here. That deserves this.
Ask Chris if he's been drinking.
Chris is down in Alabama. No telling what he's got going on.
Probably it's got something to do with radio. The guy's great.
Chris, let's see. Barry Scott says that's some awesome music. Les. Chad Jones. Hey, Scott. Karen Gillespie says, hey, Les and Kevin. Karen's a great songwriter. Do you know Karen at all? She's a great songwriter. Gillespie. I said Gillespie.
Oh yeah.
She's a great songwriter. She says always love the McGruders. Let's see, Kimberly Fleener. You know her.
Yeah.
From her husband with the Crossman for so many years.
Yeah. Wonderful people.
Chris Champion said you probably dealt with Bob Whitaker. Is that who you dealt with there at the Opry? Bob Whitaker?
I remember him being, I don't think it was Bob, though. I think it was whoever replaced Bob, or maybe it was prior to Bob. But
okay,
I'll think of it in a minute, and I'll interrupt you.
Chris Champion came back with me and said, think John Campbell. Hip suey, think John Campbell.
Yeah. Well,
those were good. Let's talk about that real quick. Speaking of that, so the Solid Gospel Radio Network started in your studio.
yes, it did.
What about that?
Well, it was started originally in California at a United Pentecostal church. And Carol, it was Carol's brother-in-law, Nathaniel Wilson, that started this radio network out there. And they just got to where they couldn't keep up with it. And they wanted to sell it. So Carol came to us and said, anybody wants to buy a radio network? And so I wasn't too interested in it. Chris saw the potential, and he called Maurice, and Maurice saw the potential, and the rest of it's kind of history. That was several years ago now, but we took what became our B room and built a production room and a control room, small, both of them, but we could actually be uplinking and live, from one studio and doing something in the other one. So
yeah,
it was fun, a lot of fun. We had a generator out back, that if the power went off, it kicked in and kept reach on the air,
Then it went to Great Circle Sound, and then a couple other spots, and ended up being at B&A, which is where it is now, and it's been there for good night, probably 20 years. And it's now known as the Singing News Radio Network. So that's what's going on there. But you were there at the beginning of that thing, at the birth of it.
Yeah.
Gave it a home.
Yes, we did. And, we had, they hired some good guys, including old Chris there, was part of that. And,
yes. Chris and John Grant Hutchins did great work, man. Great work.
Do you remember Derek Frericks?
I do remember Derek. Yes, sir.
You do? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I stay in touch with him.
Okay.
He loves radio, but one of the best voices to me. I thought he had a great voice. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll just share a little secret with you. When I was young, I was mesmerized by the radio industry.
Okay.
And I used to deliver papers in the morning before school. And the town I grew up in, Delray Beach, Florida, they had a local AM station. I think it was just AM, but they were broadcasting from the first floor of the hotel, about the only hotel in Delray that was downtown anyway. So I would go in the morning after I delivered papers and sneak up the alley where I could look in the window of the control room. Of course, the DJ had his back to me, so I could just stand there and scope it all out. And I thought, well, I want to do that someday. I want to get in radio.
Well, you kind of did.
Yeah,
I did. Listen, we got some more folks saying things here. Let me read this real quick. Okay, so Chris, he's filling in the dots here for us. And now that he said this, I remember it now. That's what John would say coming out of a song that he liked. Hip suey.
Okay. I didn't remember that, but let me tell you a funny story.
On the air.
Let me tell you a little funny story about John.
Okay.
We were going to do I think it was the first time they did one of the award shows in Gatlinburg, up there on top of the hill, the
hotel.
And so they were doing some remodeling, and there was a big dumpster out back, and it was about full. I'm talking a big dumpster. And so we had the TV trucks parked out back, and somebody went and got pizza. And we were sitting down by the truck eating our lunch, our pizza, and here comes Mama Bear out of the woods. And she comes over and she climbed right up the top of that, right up the top of that dumpster, and went diving for food. And I've seen stuff getting thrown over the top, and there was a Wendy's bag. And she threw that Wendy's bag over, and then she climbed down and proceeded to tear it open and get whatever was inside. Okay. So John said, you know, that bear's hungry. Going through the garbage like that. He said, we had pizza there. So John said, I'm going to give it a piece of pizza. So he takes his pizza and he starts walking up very slowly, and she's watching him. This mama bear is watching him out of the corner of her eye.
No doubt.
He gets over. I'll back up a little bit so I can maybe show you how to do it.
Okay.
He had that in the palm of his hand, and she looked up at him and stomped her foot, and he was so scared he threw that thing at the bear.
Man, let me tell you, he was crazy. He did crazy stuff on the air too. He was great to listen to. He kept you in stitches playing Southern gospel music. You'd be crying listening to the song. It was blessing you. Then he'd come out with a big hip suey, and the next thing you know, you're just dying laughing. He's missed, man. You know, he's gone on before us, but boy, I loved to listen to John and Chris Champion and Greg Hutchins, and then I ended up being part of that team, and it was some great days.
There's a lot of history there now.
Yeah, it was great days. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, Kevin. I'm going to go. I'll let you go back to your night, and please apologize to your in-laws for me. But while you do that, I'm going to play "Midnight Cry," which
oh, God bless you.
What a huge hit song. But before I do that, thank you for spending some time with me, Kevin. I miss being around you. We got to be in the studio a lot together. Golly, I produced several records over at your place, and I'm going to play one of those here in just a little bit from the Dunaways. We had some good times.
Great. Love them too.
We had some good times together, Kevin.
We did. And I hope it's not the end of it, you know. So
Yeah. Well, bless you, man. All right. I'm going to let you get to your in-laws and tell Beverly I said hello to her.
All right.
Bless.
I love you, buddy.
Love you too, buddy. Will you do this again with me? Because I got a whole bunch of stuff we didn't talk about that I want to talk about.
Yeah, anytime.
Do you remember that my church bought Henry Slaughter's piano from you? The Oak Valley piano is at my church right now in the main sanctuary.
You know, the other one, we had, I bought a second one. I don't know if you knew that, but a buddy of mine that I go to church with here works at Channel 2. So he called me one day and he said, anybody wants to buy a grand piano? I said, what is it? He said, it's a Baldwin. I already had a Baldwin. I knew it was a great piano. So I said, well, why are you selling it? He said, well, we have a new general manager. It's a lady, and she's selling everything that's not nailed down. So, okay, I'll go down there and take a look at it. So I had to pile a bunch of junk boxes and stuff off the top of it so I could open it up and look at it. But he said, well, they're selling it for on a sealed auction. So if you want it, just make a bid. And, if you win it, fine. If you don't, that's fine. I bid $1,200 on it, and I got it.
And tell the folks what piano that is.
It's a, it's the piano that they use to shoot Jubilee.
The gospel singing Jubilee. Yes.
Yeah.
You have the gospel singing Jubilee piano.
In my living room. Yes, I do.
I have played it in your living room.
Yeah, that's right.
When we did a video shoot there at your place. See, when you come back, we'll talk more about all that too, because that was fun.
Yeah.
But all right. I'm going to play Midnight Cry. Good night, Kevin. God bless you, buddy.
Good night, buddy. Take care. Love you. Bye.
All right, Kevin McManus, the one and only Kevin McManus, owner of Oak Valley Studios, and goes back to the Hilltop days. We played the Hinsons. We played the McGruders. And now we are going to play one of the biggest songs, if not the biggest song, in the history of Southern gospel music, from Gold City, Midnight Cry. Number one song, a huge number one song. One of the biggest. Oh, it's good.
I of a mighty rushing wind, and it's closer now than it's ever been. I can almost hear the trumpet, and Gabriel sounds the call at the midnight cry. We'll be going home when Jesus steps out on a cloud to call his children. The dead in Christ shall rise to meet him in the air. And then those that remain will be quickly changed at the midnight cry. When Jesus comes again. I look around me, I see prophecies fulfilling and signs of the times. They're appearing everywhere. I can almost hear the Father, and he says, son, go get your children. And at the midnight cry, the bride of Christ will rise when Jesus steps out on a cloud to call his children. The dead in Christ shall rise to meet him in the air. And then those that remain will be quickly changed at the midnight cry when Jesus comes again. And then those that remain will be quickly changed
I believe that's me and you.
at the midnight cry when Jesus comes again. At the midnight cry when Jesus comes again. When Jesus comes again.
Oh my. What a song. Midnight Cry. Produced by Eldridge Fox, Kevin McManus at the controls. Of course, you had Ivan Parker doing the lead there, Brian Free singing tenor, Mike Lefebvre baritone, the one and only Tim Riley on bass, Taco at the piano, and Jeff Hollander playing bass. And that right there, boys and girls, is stout stuff. Midnight Cry, Gold City. Wow. Well, I got one more song and then a story that we're going to play here in just a minute, but we're getting close to the end. Let's see who else we have here that is with us. We've got Jackie Holcomb. Hello. Hey, there's Derek. Speaking of Derek, man, we're having a big old Reach Satellite Network reunion with Chris, and we're talking about John Campbell and myself and then Derek. And good to see you, Derek. Man, thanks for jumping on with us. Night Maid, Chris Champion said. Well, good, Chris. I'm glad to be a part of that. Derek, the most beautiful recording. Yep, that's been recorded by every group, everybody. And Gold City has, done other recordings of it. But that recording, the first recording, that's it. I mean, that's it. Okay, so I said I was going to play one more song. I'm going to play another one that was done at Oak Valley, engineered by Kevin McManus. Now, I produced this one, and it's just it's a great old Dottie Rambo song. And I've played this before, and I'm going to play it again right now. And then I'm going to play the story that Dottie did, and she told us how she came to write this song. And at the end of the recording, when we were through, she's singing on it along with the Dunaways. I asked her, I said, Dottie, do you mind if I keep the tape rolling and tell me what happened to make you write this song? And then she gave her story. And it's just simply powerful. So let me try to get this. Going here. You're going to love this. I'm telling you right now. You're going to love it. Name of the song is I Just Came to Talk with You, Lord.
I didn't come here to ask you for anything. I just came to talk with you, Lord. You've answered a million prayers or more that I forgot to thank you for. I just came to talk with you, Lord. Maybe tomorrow there'll be trouble and sorrow, and a thousand teardrops may fall. But until I face tomorrow's task, I have no special favor to ask. I just came to talk with you, Lord.
Sometimes we just need to talk.
How many times, Lord, have troubles brought me down to my knees? Oh, but this time, I just came to talk with you a little while, Lord.
This should help somebody tonight.
I really don't have any selfish motive in mind. I just want to thank you, Lord, for all the other times I just came to talk with you, Lord. Maybe tomorrow there'll be trouble and sorrow, and a thousand teardrops may fall. But until I face tomorrow's task, I have no special favor to ask. I just came to talk with you, Lord. But until I face tomorrow's task, I have no special favor to ask. I just came to talk with you, Lord.
Wow, what a song. You know, when I went to talk to my dad or ask my dad something, I didn't have to go up to him and say, "Oh, thou Father of mine, this blessed Father of mine, I beseech thee." No, he just wanted me to come up to him and say, "Dad, I've got a need." You don't have to be like that. Just listen, here's what you need to be like. Here's Dottie. Here's the story.
Years ago, when we didn't have anything, hardly, poor, as we say, we were poor, not poor. And it seemed like every time I went to the Lord, I had something I had to ask him for, because I knew he had everything, and he promised me everything. But I just got impatient, I guess. And one day, sitting on the floor in a little bedroom of a little old trailer we had, got my guitar and sat down and started talking to the Lord, as my grandpa taught me how to talk to him, not pray, just talk to him. And he'd always start, "Good evening, Lord. Ain't we had a good day?"
Love that.
And I'd lay at the foot of his bed and act like he didn't know I was there. And I'd wait to hear him say amen, but I always fell asleep before he got through. So that day I started talking to him, and as I did, I realized I really was talking to him. I quit asking him for things, for the brokenness in my life. And the song was born before I hardly realized it. And we'd had a good talk together. And that's about the way I wrote it.
My. That's just stout. How she came to write, "I just came to talk with you, Lord." My word, we were in the studio that night. She started in her singing, and if anybody knows me, you know what's happening. I start crying. It's just what I do. And then she started in. When I asked her to tell the story, it was over with. I mean, it was over with. I couldn't talk for several minutes. And I'm so glad I asked her. I'm so glad she did. So glad we recorded it. And I hope that helped somebody tonight. Just talk to the Lord. He's there. He's listening. He wants to hear from you. Just like I'm a father. I want to hear from my son and my daughter. No different. He's our Heavenly Father. He wants to hear from his children. Just talk to him. Good way to start is to, just like her grandfather, just like Dottie's grandfather. Ain't we had a good day, Lord? Start with the blessing. Start with the good stuff before you maybe start talking to him about, Lord, we got a mortgage payment due in a few weeks. You know that, in a few days. You know that. But I just want to talk to you about it. He wants to hear it all from us, all of it. But a good place to start is like her grandfather started. Thank you, Lord, for giving us a good day. Haven't we had a good day, Lord? Don't always go out right from the get-go with your hand out. Give me, Lord, give me, Lord, give me, Lord. Amen. All right. I hope you've enjoyed it. Kevin McManus, going back to his Hilltop days, even before then. He wasn't always a Christian. Marshall Tucker Band is not a Southern gospel band, just so you know. Look them up on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. And I've seen a couple of pictures of him during the Marshall Tucker days. It's absolutely hilarious. I love it. And but then he comes to Nashville and he gets saved, and he's in this Southern gospel music, and he's recording some of the greatest Hinson records and all at Gold City, Midnight, just on and on and on, and just everybody. And one of the best recording studios in Nashville. And he's since retired from that. And again, if you want to come and sit down and play the piano that played da 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 da, the Midnight Cry intro, it's at my church. I play it every week. So come and join me at Middle Tennessee Baptist Church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we'll play some Midnight Cry and other hits from that was played at that very piano. Okay? All right. That's it. I think we will get back together on Monday night. We're going to have an Easter show. And don't forget, you can go to my Facebook page, my personal page. Well, you're on it now. Just scroll down and you can get the whole listing of all the guests I'm going to have in April. I've got Doyle Lawson that's going to be on a video with me. I have Vic Clay, the Cathedral Quartet's producer, that's going to be right here by me in my place in April. And other things going on, some really good shows coming up. So I want you to be a part of them, okay? Hit share, let everybody see this, and God bless you all. Let's see, we got Joe Belcher. Let me see real quick. Good evening, Joe. Who else? I think I said hello to everybody else. I think I have. Okay. God bless you all, and we will see you down the road.